Now, I did make one of these regarding the Final Four, and I did an all right job in that video. I kind of broke down each team. I told you who my favorite was. My favorite did end up being Duke to win it all. My second favorite being Houston, third Florida, fourth Auburn. And now we are at the big game, the big dance, the big finale to March Madness, where the Florida Gators will take on the Houston Cougars tonight at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I have no idea. It's sometime that's late because low-key they be messing people up with these start times, but it's okay. So I really just want to give a quick preview about the national championship game today. I really just want to talk about who I think is going to win, why I think they're going to win, and just overall, realistically has the best chance and who needs to be a difference maker tonight. I want to start things off on the Houston side of the ball. No, I don't actually. We're going to start on Florida, because Florida right now is the hot topic. Walter Clayton Jr. just dropped 34 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 turnovers, which isn't the best, but he still had a phenomenal game. Shot 5 for 8 from 3, 11 for 18 from the field against Auburn, which, to be fair, they probably had the worst defense remaining besides Florida. So it might be downhill tonight, but we have no idea. But Walter Clayton Jr. just carried. Elijah Martin had an insane post or dunk. Thomas Howe off the bench was fine. Alex Condon really put in work against Janai Broom, and Will Richard, yes, I said his name right. If you watched the other one, I couldn't stop calling him Rijkaard. It dropped a cool 7 and 6. Very, very solid. Very, very decent. Also got 3 steals. Florida was able to use transition offense along with good interior defense to slow down this Auburn attack. Now, it doesn't help that Auburn was also super inefficient. I mean, Tahad Pettiford was 1 for 6. Miles Kelly was 3 for 10. Janai Broom, 6 for 14. And only really Chad Baker-Mazara was their good player. That's it. Like Denver Jones, 1 for 5 from 3. Miles Kelly, 2 for 7. Janai Broom, 0 for 2. Tahad Pettiford, 0 for 4. They shot 28% from 3, while Florida shot 38%. And that's even with Will Richard going 0 for 3. Thomas Howe going 1 for 4. Denzel Aberdeen going 0 for 2. There's something in my eye, bro. Ugh. But yeah, there was a lot of positives that we saw from Florida, but the big question mark comes with their KenPom ranking. Now, I understand not everybody likes KenPom. Some people just like watching the games and using what they see as the fuel to pick their winners and losers, which is fine. Everybody scouts their own different ways. I like KenPom because this guy knows what he's doing when these ratings happen. There's a reason why the top 4 teams that he had were the top 4. Like it is what it is. That is how that works. Now, I will say this, however, though. Florida has the number 2 offense in the country and the number 9 defense. The only reason why this scares me is because Duke technically had the best offensive rating in the country last game, and Houston was able to stop them from scoring in the second half for like a total of 10 minutes. Florida's defense is 9th, and Houston just played the number 5 defense. Is the difference that big? Not really, but it still is a difference. It still isn't going to be maybe up to the tier that Duke was. Now, with intensity, with emotions, and everything that comes together within this game, will it be different? Yes, they will probably play like they're the best on both sides of the ball, or maybe one team will just, suck. That's just is what it is. I do think, however, though, that Florida is not the favorite tonight. I do not think that Florida is the favorite. I think the only way that they win tonight is if Walter Clayton Jr. has one of the most legendary March Madness performances ever. I think he has to do exactly what he did against Auburn, maybe even drop more points. I don't think it's going to be easy for him, though. LJ Cryer is going to be on him. Emmanuel Sharp gives good effort. Milos Uzan gives good effort. I mean, everybody on that Houston team is literally just built around effort, and I think it's going to be hard for them to slow down the Cougars, but most importantly, I think it's going to be hard for them to score on. We'll see, though. Alex Condon should be banging down low. Will Richard is going to have a better game than he did against Auburn. Definitely can't go 1 for 6 again, but they should be pretty heavy contenders in this game, and there's no world where they can't win it. I really think both these teams are going to be so even. I would much rather watch a Florida-Houston final than a Duke-Auburn final. Moving on to Houston, though, Houston is super interesting because when we look at Houston, we weren't really too amazed last game by anybody but LJ Cryer. LJ Cryer threw this team on his back, walked them through basically the Sahara Desert, and willed them to a win. I mean, he shot 6 for 9 from 3, 8 for 14 overall, got 5 rebounds, 26 points. He was their entire offense, especially because they didn't shoot well from the 2 at all. They shot 37.7% from the field overall and 45% from 3, limiting Duke to 41% from 3, which is still not really limiting, especially when Tyrese Proctor goes 2 for 8 and 0 for 4 from 3, and Kamen Maluwak, Maluwak sold last game. How do you not get a rebound at 7'2"? That's just awful. But Houston's only problem going into today, there is one major glaring problem with Houston, and that is, can their offense sustain? Can their offense produce again what they produced against Duke? I have zero questions about their ability to stop the Florida offense. I think that they can stop the Florida offense. I think that they will stop the Florida offense. I think that they will give them a tough time when it comes to creating their own shot and being available around the rim. I think that Joseph Tugler is going to be phenomenal tonight. He's going to at least get 4 blocks again, probably. Juwan Roberts needs to be physical again. He needs to be physical on the boards. He needs to get in there again. He out-rebounded a 7'2" center at 6'7". Milos Uzan has to be better. He cannot go 3 for 10 again, cannot go 1 for 4 again. He just can't. And Emmanuel Sharp, he did hit that clutch free throw, but 4 for 13 overall, 3 for 7 from 3 is just not good enough. It's not good enough. Their bench play, Malik Wilson or Malik Wilson. Why did I say Malik? I don't know. Shot 1 for 4 from the field. Terrence Arsenault, or however you say his name, 0 for 4 from the field. They can't do that again. They just can't. They got to be more efficient all around from the 2, from the 3. Now, from the 3 is kind of hard. I mean, 45%, you take that, but especially from inside the arc, you got to take better shots. You got to have better shot selection. You got to be more patient. And you cannot get into another situation where Duke has a 96% chance to win the game with a minute and a half left and you make a miraculous comeback because you outscored them 42-33 in the second half. It can't happen again. You have to be locked in the entire game. You have to keep this game close the whole time. The biggest question is, will Florida be able to score and will Houston be able to score? But for 2 entirely different reasons. Will Houston be able to score because their offense is number 9 in the country? Maybe, especially because Florida's defense is number 9 in the country. So theoretically, they had the worst defense left in the pool. But will they be able to pass, a tough top 10 defense again? I don't know. But the biggest question for Florida is, can they score on Houston? Not because of their own ability, but because the Houston defense is number 1 in the country. And it's number 1 by a very good margin, especially with the teams that were remaining. Them and St. John's are really just far and away the best defensive teams in the country this year. And it wasn't particularly close. I do, however, believe that if we really break it down and dissect it, the winner of the game tonight, if they can keep up on offense, should be the Houston Cougars. I don't care who wins, to be honest. I only want Houston to win because Jamal Shed went to Houston. So shout out my Toronto Raptors boy. But yeah, that's it for me. Appreciate y'all for watching. And yeah, let's go.